All right, Chris, let's finish this off with a bang. World class or not? And the first player that we are going to discuss on this segment is none other than Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford, is he a world class player? Is he not a world class player? Does he have the potential to be a world class player? Chris, what do you think?
I think he is definitely he's a decent guy for providing those meals for those hungry kids. But as a footballer, he is not a world class footballer. He has the potential to be. I think the what makes a world class player for me is to have the elite ability and to show that consistently throughout uh, an extended period of time and during big games. So putting that all together, all those different variables, that's what equates to a world class player for me. Marcus Rashford has bits of each of those, but he doesn't do any of those three enough to be considered a world class player for me. He's shown that he can provide an unbelievable moment when he's had that goal against PSG. He's shown that he's had the ability to score those unbelievable goals with the free kicks, with the pace that he has, with the finishing touch. He's shown that he has been at at a pretty decent level for a pretty consistent time. It just hasn't been enough on all three fronts, and I don't know if he's gonna get there. He like I said, he's shown that he's capable of each criteria, but he just hasn't put it all together for a meaningful period of time for me to consider him a world class player.
That's the thing. What you just said about his consistency is the one thing that makes me say that Marcus Rashford is not a world class player, and I just don't think he will ever be a world class player. I'm looking at his age. He's 24 years old. He'll be 25 this October. I don't think that you just become world class at 25. You will become world class at like 21, right? And I know that's probably a lot to ask for from such a young player, but Marcus Rashford, he just to me he was never really as great as they made him out to be. He's a good player. He is a good player, and of course, what he does off the field, I think that's completely separate. And what he does there, he's like you said, he's world class there. Definitely is world class there. But he doesn't show up in the big moments with Manchester United. He goes missing for 5 6 games, scores goals on consecutive games, and then goes missing for another 5 6 games. That's the only consistent thing about him. Um, and I look at his game, and I don't see him do anything great. He's not a great goal scorer. He's not a great dribbler. He's very fast. He's a very fast player, and he can play as a striker. He can play as a winger, but I just don't think that he does anything great. I look at Jaden Sancho and Mason Greenwood, and I think that those two are better players than Marcus Rashford because Mason Greenwood, he's a great goal scorer. And the more time he gets, the more minutes that he gets, he'll probably score more goals, obviously, right? Jaden Sancho, I don't think he's been given a fair shake at Manchester United so far. But once he gets, man, and even that, I don't think he's that much better than Marcus Rashford, but I would prefer Jaden Sancho over Marcus Rashford. I just feel like Jaden Sancho's he's just electric, you know. Jaden Sancho's electric. He provides an assist whenever he's needed. He'll score a goal whenever his team needs one. And I just don't feel like Marcus Rashford can do any of those things. And but I think it all comes down to his inconsistency. That is the one thing that just I don't think you become consistent at 25 years old. You just don't. You don't. And he's a good player. Again, don't get me wrong. He's a good player, but I don't think he's world class.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. He's a good player. He's not world class. We'll see if he can get to it because time's running out. Like you said, 25. You're not the finished article yet, but you should be further along than where Mr. Rashford is at the moment. So maybe he needs a move. We'll see.
Wow. Probably, but the messed up part is that Manchester United wants him to be that guy so bad. They
Yeah.
need him to be that world-class player. They need it so bad. It's not just that they want it. They need it. They need Marcus Rashford to be world-class, and he's not. So yeah, I feel like if Marcus Rashford were to go to like, I know it's like a trendy pick, like Aston Villa or like Newcastle or something like that, I feel like he could stand out. I feel like he
Hmm.
could definitely stand out. But at Manchester United, it might just be a little too much for him. It might just
You
be a
you
little too
know
much.
you know who that reminds me of? I was just talking about this earlier today. And it's why we had to move on from him. It's Tammy Abraham. Tammy
Okay.
Abraham is somebody who's a good player. He's not world class. It's there's a fine line. Like you said earlier, not everybody's cut out for the Barcelona, the Chelsea, the Manchester United, and that's not the end of the world. This doesn't mean that these guys are bad players. It's just to be at this level, you're at the best of the best. You have to be elite. All these clubs, they look for world class players. They're not satisfied with Europa League wins. They're not satisfied with Champions League qualifications. They want the big trophies. So there's a difference there, and I think that's that quality. That's that consistency. These players are all good players, but when you're consistently excellent, I think that's what sets people apart. So we're seeing Tammy now blossom at Roma. Whether he comes back at Chelsea, the finished article, we'll see. But I think that's what Rashford's missing. Like I think he would blossom at a place like Aston Villa or West Ham or a Newcastle, and I think maybe that's what he needs so that he comes back a more complete player. Because the more he puts it off, if he gets that loan at age 28, it's over. It's over.
Yeah.
He's not going to be that guy. So
He'll be, if he puts off the loan 3-4 years, he'll be like a Jesse Lingard,
yeah,
who's struggling to make it at Manchester United, and then West Ham gets him on a loan, sends him back, and what's the word on that? I don't think he's on loan at West Ham. I think he's still at Manchester United.
yeah. He's listen to this. He played last season at West Ham, upped his value. They didn't want to sell him because he looked good at West Ham. They couldn't negotiate a contract. He didn't play from the summer until now, and he's now playing for Ralph Ragnick to play out the rest of his contract and sign on a free somewhere else in the summer.